All right, let's talk about something that's changing the entire internet as we know it. We're going to unpack a massive shift in how we find things online. It's a change so big that it's forcing pretty much everyone to rethink their entire digital strategy. Let's dive right in.
Kind of scary, right? But let's be honest, you've probably felt this. This quote really hits on a nerve because the ground is literally shifting under our feet. All those strategies that worked like a charm yesterday, they're starting to feel, well, a little obsolete. So that brings us to the big question. We keep hearing these letters thrown around, right? SEO, AEO, and now this new one, GEO. But what do they actually mean? And more importantly, which one should you be focused on for the future? Let's break it all down, starting with the one we all know.
We have to start with the OG, the foundation of all digital marketing for the last decade or so. Search Engine Optimization. You know it as SEO.
At its core, SEO is pretty straightforward. It's all about making your website look as good as possible to search engines like Google. You're basically trying to convince Google that your page is the most relevant, the most authoritative result for what someone is searching for. And this is the dream, isn't it? This is classic SEO. You want to be right there at the top on page one when your ideal customer types in that exact search. It's always been a battle for that #1 spot in that list of blue links. And to win that battle, you had to focus on the technical stuff. Things like keywords, meta descriptions, getting backlinks from other sites, making sure your page loads super fast, and of course, pumping out blogs and content. These were the signals you sent to Google. So, when you boil it all down, the goal of old-school SEO was simple. Get people to click from Google and land on your website. But, and this is a huge but, people started changing how they search. They started asking questions instead of just typing keywords. And that little shift, well, that's what sparked the first big evolution. So let's talk about that first big shift. This is where AEO comes in, Answer Engine Optimization. And it's a direct response to that change in how we all started using search. With AEO, the whole game changes. It's not just about ranking your website link anymore. It's about becoming the answer itself. It's about structuring your content so well that Google can just lift your answer and put it right at the top of the page. I mean, think about it. The last time you asked Google a question like, how do I, or what's the best, you probably didn't just get a list of links, did you? No, you got this, a featured snippet, a box with the answer right there. That is AEO, live in action. And to win here, you need a totally different strategy. It's less about stuffing keywords and more about being incredibly clear. You start building out FAQs, writing in a more conversational way, thinking about how people talk to their phones for voice search. You're basically spoon-feeding the answer to Google. You see, the goal here is completely different. It's not just about getting traffic. It's about establishing authority. It's about being seen as the definitive source, the expert who can answer that question better than anyone else. Okay, and that brings us to today, to the thing that is rewriting all the rules as we speak. Let's talk about the real next frontier, Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. GEO is, well, it's a whole new world. Because now you're not just optimizing for a search engine crawler. You are optimizing for an AI that reads, that understands context, that synthesizes information from all over the web, and then it makes a recommendation. You're optimizing for an AI's brain. And this is what it looks like out in the real world. Your potential customers might not even be going to Google anymore. They're just asking ChatGPT or Gemini directly. And when that AI mentions your brand by name, that's not a ranking. That's a trusted endorsement. It's a total game changer. So the strategy for GEO is all about building deep, undeniable authority. We're talking about creating content that's so rich with context that an AI can truly understand your expertise. It's about getting talked about all over the web, establishing real thought leadership, and making it crystal clear what you're the best at. So the whole ballgame for GEO is getting your brand woven directly into that AI-generated answer. The goal isn't to be a link or even just an answer box. It's to be a trusted part of the conversation. Okay, so we've looked at the three big pieces of this puzzle: SEO, AEO, and GEO. Now let's put it all together and see what the new playbook for getting found online actually looks like. This slide nails it. It really puts everything into perspective. Just follow the columns. With SEO, the action is to rank links, and the results is traffic. Simple. Then we evolved to AEO, where the action became answering questions and the result was visibility. But now look at GEO. The action is to get recommended by AI. And the result? It's trust and discovery. You see that beautiful progression? From traffic to visibility all the way to trust? That's the entire story of search right there.
And this right here says it all. If your entire strategy is still just focused on traditional SEO, you're playing yesterday's game. You're missing the entire point of where the world is going. The game is already moved on, and you risk getting left in the dust.
So, what does a winning strategy look like now? It has to be all three working together. You still do SEO for that foundational traffic. Then you layer on AEO to grab all those people asking specific questions. And on top of all that, you invest in GEO to make sure you're part of the AI-powered future. And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important takeaway from all of this. It's really about changing the way we think about our digital strategy as a whole.
So look, the big idea here isn't to choose one. It's not SEO or AEO or GEO. The real question, the one you need to be asking your team, is this: how are we combining all three into one powerful, cohesive strategy? Because the brands that answer that question are the ones that are going to win the future of search.
All right, let's talk about something that's changed